I wanted to talk about this interaction right here between a Seattle Police Department employee, and we'll get to his name here in a second, and a bus driver for the Seattle transportation system. And the reason I wanted to do this is because we are constantly showing videos and making the assertion that some of the most fragile, egoed individuals, some of the softest, most pitiful creatures among us, happen to wear a uniform, a badge, a utility belt, and come with the authority of the state and say, they're law enforcement. We're here to serve and protect, as they harass and collect from the rest of us. But this is just another example that just recently happened in Seattle. This is the write-up. We're going to read some of this article right here, and we're also going to play the video, because I want to make a comment on not only the bus driver's reaction to this badge tyrant from the Seattle Police Department, but also the actions or lack of actions coming from anybody on the bus to speak up for what they knew was right. Nobody stepped forward on behalf of the bus driver, who was clearly in the right, and the cop, who's clearly in the wrong. Now, other than pointing back to something like the Milgram experiment, where people freeze up when authority's around and they'll just do whatever the authority says. And even if the authority's in the wrong, they're not going to speak up against that. Other than that, and a large dose of cognitive dissonance, I don't know how else to explain this right here. So what we're going to do is let me read some of this article right here that comes from the Stranger in Seattle. Says the Office of Police Accountability, or OPA, has opened an investigation into Seattle Police Department Detective Anthony Bellegarde. And Bellegarde has a record. Stay with us on this. After he pulled over a King County Metro bus last Thursday for road rage. We're going to find out what he thinks, Anthony Bellegarde. We're going to see what Detective Anthony Bellegarde thinks is road rage, and why he can justify making a threat, a law enforcement initiated threat, to a bus driver who was just doing his job. And I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion either. A passenger on the bus filmed the heated interaction, we're going to watch that in a second, between the bus driver and Bellegarde, during which Bellegarde suggested the driver could be arrested for obstruction. We got to get rid of this dragnet of obstruction and resisting arrest and interfering with official duty. We got to get rid of that, if for no other reason than just to maybe redefine it, maybe specifically define it, so that you know what obstruction is, you know what interference is, and you stay far away from it, so that we can keep people out of rape cages. The driver said Bellegarde pulled over the bus after the driver honked at the officers, there was two of them in the car, the patrol car, for cutting him off, according to King County Metro radio calls. Bellegarde drove an unmarked police car at the time. So the bus driver didn't even know, possibly, that who he was honking at was a police officer. And even if he did, who cares? If the cop is in your way and you need to honk at him to get his attention, you would expect that he's not going to have such a fragile ego that he's going to come and use his law enforcement position to threaten you with, possible jail time for just honking at him and getting his attention. The OPA complaint tracker has no details about the stop, nor a list of which policies Bellegarde may have violated, but two videos on social media, we're going to watch those in a second, recorded radio chatter and information provided by a Metro employee familiar with the incident, help fill in some of the gaps about what happened before and after Bellegarde boarded the bus. And so we'll give you some background, and then we're going to play the first clip, and then we're going to play the second clip. Around midday on Thursday, March 28th, a Rapid Ride C bus heading to Chandler's Cove pulled out of a bus zone on 35th Avenue Southwest when a black Ford, that's the unmarked police vehicle, started to pull out in front of the bus. The bus driver honked at the car driver, because that's why you have horns, so you can get other drivers' attention and say, hey, you're about to do something that's super dangerous and I don't want to run into you, so I got to get your attention. At which point the car driver, that's the cops, flashed his rear police lights. The bus driver continued on his route, but moments later, and that would be, the cop is going to interpret this as fleeing and eluding, because he didn't pull over right then, because he didn't know he had to. The bus driver continued on his route, but moments later, The cops pulled up behind the driver and activated their lights. The bus driver pulled over because he assumed the officers had their lights on to clear traffic and pass the bus. When the cop car, which the driver said was unmarked, did not pass the bus, the driver drove to his next stop at Southwest Avalon Way and Southwest Yancey Street. The cop followed the driver, pulled up behind him, and then boarded the bus. And that's where we come in at the first 30-second clip. Check this out.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna call my control center.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're out of line.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
I was in
Call
motion.
them. Call them.
Excuse me.
No, excuse me.
No.
Call them.
I was in motion.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay, can I explain?
And you just
don't
ran
have
from us. What are you
I
talking
don't
about?
have to run from you.
Our lights and sirens are on.
I pulled over.
We got the lights and sirens on. How come you didn't pull over? It's like, I didn't know you wanted me to pull over. I mean, why would I have had to pull over? I didn't commit a traffic infraction.
To let you pass, and you didn't pass.
I was pulling you over.
So I moved forward to my zone.
All right, so that was the first one. Now we're going to get to the second one. We're going to read some more of this. The media appears to show Bellegarde in front of the bus talking to the driver. In the video, the driver explains the moment where Bellegarde cut off the bus and the moment he pulled over to let the cop pass after they activated their lights. Bellegarde claims the bus driver ran from the cops. And that's what they'll do. First of all, hey, cop, you know the bus driver, you know that the bus driver didn't do anything wrong. There's no reason for you to be in. Think about this. When you're pulling over the bus driver, you're also interfering with the time and the right to travel of everybody who's taken that mode of transportation. Everybody on the bus was inconvenienced because a cop or a couple cops in an unmarked patrol car got their egos bruised because how dare you honk at a cop? Oh, I'll show you what. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm going to board this truck and I'm going to show you who's boss. The second video, the bus drivers that said that he had the right to honk his horn to let Bellegarde know, hey, I'm here.
Like, you can do that. You cut me off as I'm in motion and I almost hit you. So I have the right to honk the horn to let you know, hey, I'm here.
Okay.
You don't have the right to cut off a bus.
I didn't cut you off.
It's on camera, man.
Great.
It's on camera.
Great.
Great.
So call. Get your supervisor down there.
Now, the bus driver says it's on camera. Now, they have front facing, rear facing. And as far as I know, some of these really high tech buses have 360 cameras all around and inside. So I haven't seen the release of the OPA footage, but I bet you anything the bus driver is telling the truth because he knows he's being recorded. And the cop, who's too drunk on his own authority and too ego bruised and too fragile and too internally damaged and unstable to realize, hey, I need to back off here. But they get so involved in how they feel. They get so into their feelings and they get so drunk on their own power and their own authority. They can't stop. They literally cannot stop themselves. They know they're being recorded. They know what they're doing is happening in front of a bus full of people right here, but they continue to do it because they can't stop. These are the kinds of people we're dealing with. These are the kinds of people that are being issued uniforms and badges and, for God's sake, guns. These are the kinds of people that are told, hey, you got authority over the rest of the population. They can't back down. They can't back off. They can't swallow their pride. So I believe, I don't know about you guys, but I am taking the side of the bus driver right here because I think that we have such a track record and history of cops just absolutely lying and pulling rabbits out of hats that aren't there, that, the likelihood that this cop is lying is off the charts.
I'm waiting for them to respond.
Okay. Well, let him know to get another bus down here or another driver down here. You're not driving.
You gonna take me to jail?
Maybe. Right now you're obstructing. Right now you're obstructing.
How am I obstructing?
Because I'm stopping you.
For what? What reason? What is the
For the
purpose?
road rage.
There was no road rage.
What do you mean there was no road rage?
Show me a statute that says a person will be stopped for being disobedient. Show me the law.
This cop is so sensitive. He's so delicate. He's so light. He's so fragile that he considers somebody honking at him when it sounds like the cop is the one who made the traffic mistake, when he considers that road rage. And then to have the authority to back up, hey, if I find you guilty because of my feelings that you committed road rage, you're out of here, buddy. Gonna put the silver bracelets on you and everything.
Where's the law? Show me the book.
All right. We'll wait for your supervisor to get down here.
Show me.
We'll wait for your supervisor. That's cool. You're refusing to give us your ID?
Yeah, I'm refusing to give my driver's license. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. We'll wait. Sorry, guys.
You had no right, no reason. Other than your ego. 673.
Yeah, he should be sorry. And why isn't one single, thank God this person is actually recording it, because if the bus cameras fail, at least we have another recording with some audio. But why doesn't somebody stand up who has witnessed what was going on and call the cop on his BS? And why doesn't at least 50% of the people on this bus stand up in opposition to what this cop is saying and object to it and stand alongside this guy? And like I said earlier, I can only attribute it to the Milgram experiment, where people absolutely get paralyzed when they see an authority figure enter their purview, and all of a sudden they take the submissive back seat. Oh God, you should be the driver of this vehicle. You should be the one who's in control with the direction and destiny of my own life. I'm not going to question you, officer. You must be right. If you say it's road rage, as soon as he said road rage, everybody on that bus should have stood up and said, what the hell are you talking about? Are you doing, somebody give this guy a drug test, give the Seattle police officer a drug test, because there wasn't any road rage. And this bus driver was trying to safely navigate this bus on the public roadway in response to your flipping on the blue lights because you got your stupid ego bruised. But nobody does that. And it's pretty discouraging and it's pretty disheartening.
There's an officer that claims he pulled me over because he cut me off, and he was an unmarked police officer. I humped for that, and I was pissed. And now he pulled me over claiming that he's about to arrest me.
I never said I was arresting you for obstruction.
The bus driver told his dispatcher that this cop threatened to arrest him for road rage and obstructing. And the cop says, I never threatened to arrest you. Yes, he did. And now the person with the camera is going to voice some kind of objection to that. I'm going to play it back so you can hear it.
I never said I was arresting you for obstruction.
It's all on camera.
I know.
Yeah,
I might take you to jail for obstruction.
Cops lie, cameras don't. Always record the police. Detective Anthony Bellegarde has a history. We're going to take a look at that. So that was video 1 and video 2. Are you going to take me to jail? The driver asked. Maybe right now you're obstructing. So he's considering taking him to jail, which is what? It's the threat of taking somebody to jail. Radio calls between the driver and his supervisor capture a supervisor telling the driver to give the officer any information he requested, and a supervisor would arrive at the scene shortly. When the supervisors arrived on the scene, they spoke with the 2 SPD officers and the bus driver. A Metro employee familiar with the situation told the stranger that they had no details on what Bellegarde and his partner told supervisors, but the driver recounted more or less the same thing that he said over the radio and on the video. One of the supervisors returned to the bus driver after speaking with SPD and talked to him about apologizing to the officer. The driver refused, arguing that it wasn't my fault. They were at fault. The supervisor then relieved the driver of duty for the day. That sucks. Wonder if he probably got relieved of pay, because if you're a police officer, you get paid administrative leave and you get paid for the thing that you did wrong. In this case, the bus driver didn't even do anything wrong and he got relieved of his duty for the day, which means he doesn't have, he only gets a partial paycheck for that day because of the officer. Metro spokesperson Al Sanders said the agency knew about the video and confirmed its veracity. Officers made no arrests, and Metro bus operations planned to look into the matter and would speak with the driver as well as passengers, Sanders said. And that bus, that transportation company should not make that driver apologize. There's nothing for that driver to apologize for, in my estimation, with the limited information that I have right now. SPD confirmed that a traffic stop occurred and provided an incident number, but they gave no further details about the stop. Why? Because they knew, or at least I think they knew, that their fellow Thin Blue Line badge member actually was the one who instigated an unlawful stop. The person who posted the video of the interaction included a caption that said, "I was one of 24 people on this bus ride this AM. The driver was completely in the right, and the officer had his ego bruised." Isn't it a sad state of affairs when regular Boobus Americanus, who's been indoctrinated by the 15,000-hour public fool indoctrination program and fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, can see right through all the BS that officer absolutely that's what the problem is. Special Victims Unit Detective Bellegarde, why is he special? Is he a special victim, or is he creating special victims? Special Victims Unit Detective Bellegarde may also face consequences depending on what the OPA finds in its investigation. Don't worry, we'll investigate ourselves and we'll get back to you. The OPA has investigated Bellegarde before, including in 2015 after a Port Orchard city prosecutor charged him with 4th-degree assault for his involvement in the beating of a man at a bar. Wonder if the man was handcuffed. That sounds about like Bellegarde's speed. I don't know if he was or not. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. Or do I have an idea? The prosecutor eventually dismissed the charges in exchange for Bellegarde paying the victim compensation. The OPA recommended no discipline in that case due to the fact that the investigation went past the Seattle Police Union's negotiated 180-day time limit for OPA cases. Hey, he went way beyond the statute of limitations here. I don't think we need to investigate Bellegarde anymore. He's one of our own. Come on. He's a fellow Elks Lodge member. He belongs to my Freemasonry club. The OPA did recommend discipline against Bellegarde in 2016 after he and 2 other officers shot at Cornelius Morris, an unarmed black man. Why am I not surprised? The police chief, Kathleen O'Toole, reversed the OPA's disciplinary recommendation in that case. So what we got here is not failure to communicate. What we got here is preferential treatment of a guy who probably shouldn't be on the police force.